Okay, now that we have our floor plan copied, our roof, and then the roof and floor plan copied together, what we can do now is we can grab this and we can move it over. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make copies of it and then rotate simply so you can get multiple views of the multiple sides of the building facing the same direction. Now there's different ways to doing elevations. Some people like to do what I'm doing right here and rotate them, make 4 copies and rotate them, so on and so forth. Some people like to have just one and then do the elevations around it and then fix the elevations rotation at the end. I prefer the second method, but a lot of people have a hard time seeing that, so I'm gonna do this method. They're basically the exact same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 views with you guys. I'm going to do the front view and then one of my side views. That way I can come back and correct my roof the way it was supposed to be done, as I had told you guys in the roof elevation, in the roof video. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset, or I'm going to draw a line from the furthest bottom part of my roof, let's say 30 feet down. All right, and let's go 40. Let's go another 10 feet. Let's go another 10 feet just so I can give myself some space. And this will be my working plane. All right. Let me put this to be all right. So now that I have the base of my plan, what I can do here is I can offset my slab thickness. My slab thickness is going to be a slab thickness of 5 feet up. Sorry, 5 inches up. All right, that'd be ridiculously deep for the slab. So it's a 5-inch slab. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to start projecting my elevations down towards my slab. So I'm gonna start with my main roof. So I have my wall. I'm gonna project the edge of my wall down, edge of my main wall down. I'm gonna trim them at this bottom line. All right, and this here will be all right. We're gonna do these here as eye wall, and then I'm gonna use this to offset my roof height. So I believe in the project you should have been given an overall roof height. In this case, I'm gonna go with a roof height of 10 feet. So I'm going to offset 10 feet. You follow whatever directions you were given by your instructor. So this is the bottom of my top of my wall, bottom of my roof soffits and all that stuff. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset 6 inches, and I'm going to, from here, project this roof down. And I'm leaving it the colors they are just so you can tell the difference. I'm going to come into this corner. I'm going to trim this excess, trim this, and trim this. And I'm going to offset for my soffits and fascias and all that go right here in these corners. So I'm going to offset one down, and I'm going to offset, let's go 1.5 in, and then we will trim this interior line up to there. We will trim this line here and those two lines there. Once we have this, we are going to mirror it across the middle of my roof. And then I can come in and trim off the excess as well. And then make this all matching. I can also trim these lines down that represented my wall to the bottom of my soffits. Alright, now that I have that, what I can do is I can go to one edge. I'm going to go to this top left of my building, and I'm going to do a 7/12 rise over run. So I'm going to go 7 inches up, 12 across, and then C for close. And this line here is going to represent my roof pitch. So when I draw the point of my, when I snap to the point of my ridge, I project that down, and I will extend that 7/12 slope to that point. I will trim it here. I'm going to come this way, do the same thing, 7 up, 12 across, close. I will then project this distance down and then to that line right there. Now, if my roof is drawn correctly, when I draw this line across to meet the other side of my ridge, it should meet perfectly, and it does. So when I trim, it should trim to that line. Alright, remember, we're doing a straight line. We're not going to make it snap to it. That's why I went past it, to make sure that it actually connects to it. So I can come back and delete this. I'll keep this here. I'm going to need that later. Same thing for this one. I'll keep these here because I may need them for later. And this represents my main roof, being these lines here. Alright, so now that I have that, I can project my roof down for this edge and my wall as well, and I'm going to copy this edge over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy from the bottom, come down across. I am going to extend to those lines. Where this roof comes down, I will draw a line horizontally, and then I will draw a line vertically, and where those two cross represent my the side of my gable roof. Alright, the next thing I see is this roof on this side. Project the roof down. I will copy these lines over, just like I did on the other side. I will extend to them. I will delete the lines I projected. I will project my ridge and the back side of my ridge. So when I draw a line from this point to this point, they should meet, and they do. Now I can come in and delete these two lines, trim off the excess. Alright, now where this roof comes in, I'm going to need to, if you see here, it lines up. So where this roof is, I'm going to need to draw a line like that, and this face represents this face here. Let me see if I can hatch that. This face represents this face. Alright? This face here represents that face, and this slope line represents the side of this face. Alright? So now that we have the overall basis of the roof, I can come in and do my front part. So I'm going to project the lines for my entry down, project the lines for my entry roof, and what I can do here is, once again, I can copy these lines, same thing on this side. I can copy these lines in, delete the ones that were projected. I can trim them out. Now, this roof was supposed to be higher, if you recall. So because it is higher, I wanted it to be 2 feet higher to be exact. I believe you have the choice on how high you want it. I want it to be 2 feet higher, so I want it to be 12. So I'm gonna move it up I'm going to move it up my 24 inches or 2 feet. I'm going to connect these lines. Make sure I did it right. I don't want something messing up later. Okay. Okay, from here what we can do is we can extend the wall lines up. These lines here will get trimmed out. Let's just match properties here. If you notice, I have the wall coming down past the slab. That is mainly because we are showing where the slab is turning with our walls. Alright, so that's what that represents. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to trim the furthest outside, come over here and trim the furthest outside. And this is our basis. Now, the reason why I wanted you guys to keep the house with the roof is because for an elevation, you need to represent doors and windows. So we pull down our projection of our windows, and I'll use this and copy it over. So once you've done one, we just copy this over to the various windows. That way we can get their location. And then I can come in and start placing in windows. All right. Now, we do have windows and different types of features that you can download from Moodle. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that in. I'm gonna do an insert, more options, and then I'm just gonna go browse and find where I placed it on display. In my case, I leave them on my desktop. ACAD Win, architecture. Let's try house design. And yes, we have different types of doors, different types of windows. Right here. EV is elevation view, PV means plan view. So I'm going to come in with double hung windows, elevation view. Select it, open it, bring it in. I like using 3 foot by 5 foot windows. So let's see if they have that defaulted here. We have 3 foot by 5 foot window right here. So I can select it, explode it, can bring it in. I can place it. And windows are supposed to be no more than 42 inches above finished floor. So I'll place that right there and just copy them over. If you wanted to get unique and design your own, you could do that as well. All right, here I'm gonna go in and do my doors, so I can move this out of the way. I'm going to insert, more options, browse, trying to see something I like. Let's go with, let's move it and place it. I believe it's right there. I won't know until I project it down correctly. So I project it down. I'm going to put it in one place, and I'm just going to scale this up. Do a reference scale. If I have a 4-foot wide door, I want it to be at least a good 8-9 feet tall. So yeah, that's a decent sized door. Let's go. I want it to be 8 feet tall, not 8 and change. So I'm gonna grab this and move it down. I'm going to grab this mid between here and here and place it mid between there and there. That looks a little small. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's go 8'6". Move this up 3 more inches. There, that looks better. All right. Now that I have this, I can come in and put in my columns. This column came all the way down, came all the way down. All right. And then what I can do here is I can do some type of lazy arch. From here across, something like that. Trim it out. And now I have my exterior done. All right. I have this entire face done. I can come back in a little bit and add some I can go in and add some annotations, but before we do that, let's move on to the next one. So I'm gonna drag this out more. I'm gonna project this wall down and this piece down. And I'll use that to trim there, trim that axis, offset my 5 inches. And then from here I can just start copying. Once again, be very careful when you are copying. If you are not careful with what you're copying. You run the risk of copying something incorrectly, or you didn't draw something correctly to begin with, and then you run the risk of messing everything else up because you didn't draw it correctly the first time before you copied. Alright, so that's my main roof right there. Then what I can do here is I can come out and copy this one. Let me project this part down as well. Copy over this right here. Alright, so here, remember we had our slope. So we had the roof come up and then go. So we had two different types of roofs here. Alright, so in that case, maybe what I might want to do is do this roof first. I'll do this roof first. If I remember correctly, I had an offset of 18 inches. Did I do that right? Yes. So it came in, it went in about 18 inches, and then it turned into a gable. And then where this roof came down, it ran across and touched right there. Right? Then where this roof did the same thing. This roof came in, this roof came in, and wherever it hit, is where, let's see, okay, I won't be able to do this one without doing this view first. Alright, but we're basically going to have the same concept. Alright, and now that I look at this, I need to make some modifications to my view, because this should have came in like this, therefore I wouldn't have this piece. And it would look like that. These are just things you see as you start putting it together. So what I'm seeing is wherever my roof comes in from that projection, when I would do my next projection, let's pretend it came in right there, it would come in like so, and you wouldn't even see that right there. Alright, that's behind, don't see it, don't see it, we see this one and we see this one. So now that I have that, I can run that line up. Remember, this one would get adjusted once I have the next elevation. Once I had this view done, I would see where it hits, and then I can project it over. I can delete this one. Now I can do this one. So here, I have a transition of the wall there, a transition of the wall here, a transition of the wall here, and a transition of the wall here. So all of these will be like that. They will all get trimmed out. And now we have to worry about the roof. Alright, so we know that the roof is at least this high. That is where this roof projects across and hits it right there. From here we'll come down to the different areas. So from here, and this line was brought in from the ridge. So from here I draw a line from here to there, to there, to there, and to there. Alright, this one can be deleted now since that just looks like a triangle like here. That triangle and that triangle would be those two right there. I can come in, I can delete this line. I can kind of guesstimate where this would be at, but it's not going to be exact. Mainly because they're going to be skewed. And that's where that roof comes in. Now that I have this, I can come in here and project this line down with this roof, extend the walls out, the foundation there. I can grab this and copy it over. But if you remember, this one is higher. So my ridge is back here and the base is right there. So that means that these lines have to get moved up. Let's go perpendicular. Just make sure I copied it to the right place. Yes. Alright, so I can delete this line. I can delete this line. This line will come up. This line can get trimmed right here. Can get trimmed when it hits this slope. This one can also come in right here. I extend it right there. Now where, sorry, with mouse was very sensitive. Where this comes down here, I can trim it. So I would trim right there and right there. Now remember, this one tells us where it hits. So when I project this up, remember how I told you that it would tell us where our roof is supposed to end? I project this up and now I know to come back and adjust this roof here. But of course, that's not going to matter on this one because this is going to be deleted. I just wanted to show you as a reference. Or who knows, since I've already made 2 adjustments to this one, I might keep this one. So we have that right there. I need to project the location of my column on both sides. Now, the column does not come to this bottom line because the column sits on the pad. It does not go past the pad. And then they both get trimmed to this location and this location. Now, if you wanted to have wall here or something like that, then you wouldn't need to represent this column, but because I have a column and theoretically you can see all the way through, same thing here, you would be able to see all the way through until you hit that wall. And now that I just noticed that wall, I need to project that wall down here because it is visible through my patio or through my porch. Alright, and this is my other elevation. Alright, now that we have this, our overall roof is done. Now we can trim this off. As I said, I'm not going to go and do these two, but this is basically done. Alright, so we have two elevations basically done. Now what we could do here is come in and start adding the fine tuning and detailing. So I could come in and state, hey, this text here is going to be a 7-inch on 12-inch slope. And just copy this information over to the other side just so it can be in multiple locations. Alright, we can hatch these areas out. We can put in any type of design or molding. Let's say I wanted to have 12 inches of stone all the way across. All the way across my bottom. Let's say I wanted 6 inches of stone and then about halfway run another line of, let's see, run this one all the way across, trim from here and here. Now then I can do another, let's go 12 inches. Alright, so let's say we were doing something like that. Right? So we were doing something like that. I can come in and do my hatching. I can look for a hatch that kind of looks like stone. Let's go with this one. And we can have it here, 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 here. You don't have to do it all together, all in one shot. You can separate them out. I'm just doing it like this just for sake of saving time. I'm gonna scale this up by about 48. Let's go 24. Gonna find a good scale that looks good. Alright, that looks pretty decent. Let's see. That looks pretty decent right there. Alright, I'm gonna get this hatch, change its layer. Alright, We'll keep this the same. And then I'll come up with another hatch, and then let's say that would be brick. I don't like the way that looks. Let's make this stucco instead. Let's go sand. I have a stucco house with brick trimming. I have to do an offset of 4 inches coming down all the way across. It seems I forgot to put in this line here. Alright, and with this line that we just offset it, and I'm now cleaning up, represents the overlap of the shingle caps, where you have the shingle when you're laying in shingle at on the corners of the ridges or the corners, your edges, you're gonna have a basically V-shaped or U-shaped shingle that goes over, that wraps over it. So that's what that's going to be representing. All right. And then they are about 8 inches. So this here you can array. I like to draw a couple and just copy them across, only because arraying comes with its own issues every now and then. Copy this to the top. Go perpendicular. Would have been nice if I had these in the correct layer. Alright, mirror that over. This distance, I'll just put one dead center. Alright. Basically do the same thing here. Trim off that one. That one can go there. That one can come here. Hatch properties, I'm gonna do an offset of 8 inches, select my item, multiple. Trim. I saw I could sneak another one in. Let's see. Offset 8, click and enter for multiple. Alright, so once I have all that done, I can copy these. Alright, once I have that there, I can come in. And do a hatch. This hatch is usually going to be one that represents shingles, AR R-shake. Typically it represents wood shingles, but in this case, you know, unless we want to make one from scratch, the best we got. Alright, and this will basically be a complete house. Now that we have our slopes called out, we would come in and call out our roofs, call out the elevation height of this, the elevation heights of each area, and different things like that. Okay, so instead of going step by step on how to do the annotations, I went ahead and did the annotations, and I'm just going to talk about it just to save time since this video is already getting kind of long. So to start with, let's go with elevations. I labeled here 00 AFF. AFF stands for above finished floor. All right, so it's the abbreviation above finished floor, and I'm calling out my 00 or my finished floor to be this line here. All right. From there, I have a 1 foot offset, and that is the height of this trim. Then I have another elevation marker at 4 foot 9 inches, should be the top of this one. And then I need to give my thickness, so I would need to put a dimension. Ideally, I would need to put some sort of dimension saying, hey, this is 1 foot high. That looks a little bit better. Alright, I have another one at 8'6" coming all the way across, going to the top of my window. So TO stands for top of, and it's top of door, and wind stands for window. That's why it has a little dot for the abbreviation of window. If you want, you can put wind, same thing. Alright, so at 8'6", we have top of door and window. Our next trim is at 9'6", and then the bottom of my roof being at 10 feet. Alright, come to the other side. I have another elevation marker calling out the 12 foot height of this front roof of my entry. Then I have some call outs calling out, hey, this trim is Austin stone, this hatch means stucco, Austin stone, this is stucco, Austin stone here and here. I have my slope, so if it's a 7 inch rise, 12 inch run, 7 inch rise, 12 inch run. And then a note pointing to my shingles saying, hey, this is a 30-year composite shingle. So you would need to do essentially this on every single elevation you make, all right? Once again, I'm not gonna go and do everything for all of them, because then this would be turned into a 2-3 hour video. So just to save time, this is basically what you will be turning in. You'll be turning in all 4 elevations, fully detailed and hatched. Remember how I talked about the roof? Well, I can come back. I don't need this one. Theoretically, I don't need those two if I was pretending I was already done. Now, this one was the one that we had made the adjustments to. So I need to come over here and see what adjustments I made. So I'm going to bring this closer. So I'm going to rotate. Let's go right here. And then let's line these edges up. Alright. So what I need from this one is I need the location of this roof. I had already fixed it, so I'll bring that over. I don't need this one. Delete. Trim there, trim there. Then on this side I need to make this match as well. So I need to trim this here, trim that there, that gets deleted, and then this line looks like this. Alright, that looks more like it. So we have this line is there because that's representing the roof overhang. This should be right there. I guess just some final adjustments. There, now that makes sense. Alright, now I can come back and delete this one, and I would have my floor plan, my roof plan, and my 4 elevations. Now, once you have all 5 objects done, your 4 elevations are as many as you need, and then your roof, we would go ahead and grab our roof. We'll go from furthest outside to furthest outside of my floor. I'm going to place it here, and then I need to line up my exterior wall with my site plan. And this is how we would be turning in our roof plan on our site plan as shown. Then 1 view per elevation. All right. With your elevations, if you have any U-shaped elevations or anything interesting going on, like pretend I had a door right here or a window right here, you would need to make partial elevations going from this wall out, showing that window or door on either side. Same thing if you had like little notches and you had doors and windows, you would make partial elevations, so on and so forth. Wherever you have doors and windows is where you would have to make an elevation to show how that resembles. So you may end up with 4 elevations, or you may end up with more elevations depending on how tricky your floor plan is and how you place doors and windows. All right. That should be it. Remember, you just use these concepts that we implied on this first one and mimic that throughout. If you have any questions, as always, please remember to ask myself or the instructor teaching your class.